Welcome to Base Camp, Western North Carolina. We're now ready to assemble this pump on this mock setup for you. And we've come up with one other thing. Right now, if you use this 1.25 inch threaded to the glue fitting, when this pump bottoms out down here, this U-cup seal will hook into the bottom of the pipe. So to keep this from happening, we've cut a 1-inch piece of pipe, 1 inch long, and we drop this down the tube first, and then we set the plunger in. And what that does, it goes down, hits that bottom, but won't get hooked. So in the end of properly install putting this thing together, go ahead and, so you know where it is, slide your plunger all the way down against that piece of pipe. We're going to go to the other end and start hooking up all the rods to be able to come down to this thing. And then what we're going to do is we'll then hook this thing to the rod sticking out. Okay, we're at the other end of this piece of 20-foot pipe, and what we have is basically our fiberglass rods. These are fiberglass rods available at Ace Hardware and everybody. They are 3/8 inch thick. They're heavier than most other people's have them. To save some time, I've screwed a couple sections together. They're 4 foot long. They are basically what goes in with the, they are the chimney cleaning rods that go in with chimney brushes. So what we'll do, we have a 20-foot piece of pipe. So we'll go ahead and screw 5 of these together and slide it all the way down in there. And we'll put a 20-foot piece together all at one time. Okay, now we'll go back down the other end and hook the pump back down here at the other end of the pipe. We've got our pump with our rod already bottomed out. We're going to hook all these rods together. We have on here our 1-inch piece of pipe. This is a Schedule 80, also available in 120, but this is going to be a very shallow well pump. So we have our bushing on here that goes from 1.25 inches, from 1 inch up to 1.25 inches, and we'll screw the pump together. Now right now, in theory, the rods are hooked together the whole way up. Depending on how deep your well is, you'll have multiple of these to do. I'm just trying to get it to where I can show you how to figure out the top section of the pump and where to put all the holes. So now we'll go back up to the top end of the pump. We're back up here at the top end of the pump, and as you can see, we've got this much of the last rod sticking out. So what we will do, we will then screw in our top metal rod that will either go to your hand pump or in the future into an electric motor if you go that way. We have here our piece of 1.25 inch steel pipe with our T, everything hooked into it. I put a piece of pipe through it and glued this all solid so this comes out. So then what we'll have is your very top end of the fitting. You will then drill a hole for a 1/4 inch bolt, 1 inch or 2 down from the top of the steel rod, and the end of the steel rod, the hole will be just about level with this right here. And this way, this is the length of the pipe. If you can actually see this thing here, with all the rods hooked together, the spacer piece, the final piece put in, the hole is just a little bit down in the, this is where it's bottomed out. What we'll have to do is grab this with a pair of pliers and pull it up to hook the handle onto it. Let me set the camera down and I'll do that, and then we'll go over this whole thing and show it to you pump. Okay, now with a pair of pliers, you're going to have to pull, whether this is down the well or not, you're going to have to pull this thing up in order to get to it. This thing right here will just come up with a bolt through here, and that's it. This way, when it goes totally down, we're still this far away. The piston in the bottom of the pump is not bottomed out. You're not going to damage anything. but then you'll get all the stroke you need right here. And if you measure this thing from there to there, it's 14 inches. 3 inches, so you got about 11-inch stroke on this thing. You can make that longer depending on your pump by making these bars longer and moving this hole further out on the handle. Of course, when you do that, it's going to be a little bit harder to pump. Now, just for your basic measurements, from the center of the pipe out, this hole here is 6 inches out. This right now is working on a 17-inch bolt hole to bolt hole length. From this bolt hole over is 9 inches. Right now I've just used this ready metal with holes all in it. It's a whole lot easier to keep figuring out where you want your handle. This piece of pipe right here is a 1-inch piece of conduit with just a slice cut in the top and bottom for the rod to fit in. That's all you need. You can get as fancy as you want. We can go to water pipe. This is thinner. The only reason I'm pumping this dry pump right now is I did put a little bit of olive oil in it to make it slide for this video. Tomorrow we will be installing a pump in a pipe in a well. We are now in western North Carolina. The last videos I did were down on the coast of South Carolina where it was almost 100 degrees. Today is rough. It's going to get the hottest part of the day all the way up to about 71 degrees. So tomorrow, hopefully I'll have a film crew there. I'll have somebody to run the camera. We'll go over this whole thing on the install. Maybe the owner will be there and see if we can't get it in working. And any questions or anything, leave them in the comment or email me, and I'll be more than glad to help you with it. Thank you.